Good evening. Thank you for joining us today. I am Saival Gupta, the Senior Advisor and Consultant at AIS, and your host today for this webinar series. Again, I welcome you all to our knowledge sharing webinar series. And today's session is based on the role of nutrition in stress management by prominent dietitian Ms. Bijaya Mukherjee, who is our guest speaker for today. So I would like to introduce AIS, Alvin Integrated Service, to you. The Alvin Integrated Service is a leading training, certification, and consulting supporting provider company headquartered in India into continuity, development, and resilience. We have got a highly experienced professional work together to offer a range of training, certification for the ISO compliance, IT governance, leadership, and soft skill. AI is one of the fastest growing professional education provider company. AI is also authorized training partner of prestigious organization TechCert GmbH of Hanover, Germany, and renowned certification body for the persons and management systems. The team at Integrate AIS believes that the turning impossible is to possible. We set our goals with the perfection as our first step to success. We at AIS guide our clients to frame a vision for their future and achieve the desired skill set and goal. We provide an understanding of the needs of the region across the world, and our global resources provided expertise in the best in class of competence in consultation, certification, and training processes. I would like to introduce our speaker today. Today's session is being conducted by Ms. Bijaya Mukherjee, a certified diabetes educator, clinical nutritionist, and the wage management consultant, and the founder of RB Diet Clinic in Kolkata. She is specialized in weight management, IDF, diabetes education, IDF, the treating weight management and associated issues, metabolic syndromes, hypertension, gastro health, and gut health. Ms. Bijaya is a certified diabetes educator, clinical nutritionist, and a wage management consultant, actively working in the field of diabetes, weight management, and the clinical nutrition and other lifestyle related disorders since 2001. She has come a long way with her 19 years experience to develop scientific health programs backed by the solid scientific knowledge, modern treatment, and blended with the traditional approach as per principles of Ayurveda. And it is based on the individual requirement. She is also founder of RB Diet Clinic, an ex-official dietitian of Femina Miss India East for participants. What we will learn today, how our learning will be what is the stressor, how the stress affect our health, the foods that help in combating the stress, lifestyle change to be adopted to minimize the stress. Before moving on, I would like to mention the participants to mute their microphones so that we can learn our valuable tips from Ms. Bijaya Mukherjee, our honorable guest speaker today. And I would like to request our participants to ask any question by dropping your question in the chat box. Our guest speaker will be answering them towards the end of the session. We'll try our best to make this session very informative and knowledgeable to everyone as far as possible. Now I would like to invite Ms. Bijaya Mukherjee to enlighten us with her knowledge of industry. We have also today's platform, and we are honored to have Ms. Bijaya Mukherjee on this platform today. Over to you, Ms. Bijaya Mukherjee.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gupta, and a very good evening to everybody. And if you all can please drop a message in the chat box and let me know that if I'm audible and visible. Am I audible clearly?
Yes, you are audible and you are clearly visible.
Okay. And I believe my screen is also visible to everybody.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's good.
Okay. Thank you so much. And thank you, Alvin Integrated, for inviting me to speak on this platform in front of so many delegates. And that too on a very, very important topic, that is the stress management. And being a dietitian, I believe it is my sole responsibility to also think or to also treat a patient from the stress perspective or from a stress point of view, especially in this scenario like wherein we're standing now, and because of this pandemic situation. And anyways, we had stress in our life, and stress is an inevitable part of our life, and we are standing more into stress because of the COVID-19 or COVID 20 and 21. And we all know that the global economy has been affected, and it is affecting our business, it is affecting our economy. And so the source of stress, it is not just a one thing but a lot many things, because even the social interaction has been hindered. So before going forward, we should be knowing that what exactly stress is. See, it is a body's natural reaction to any change. And we every day we are coming in contact with so many things, with so many circumstances and so many situations. And it basically stress, it triggers a biological response, like our body, it reacts to these biological, or to these what to say, to these triggers, with in the physical form, in mental form, or in the emotional form. So even our physical form, like even it respond to the stress, our mental state, it also respond to the stress, and also the emotional thing, that also respond to the stress. But it is a very, very normal part of our life. And we can experience stress from our environment, from our body. Like even if I'm not feeling well, that is giving me a stress. Now every day we are concerned that, am I getting succumb to COVID, am I getting affected with COVID? Now that is also a stress which is getting or a thought process which is which is affecting us, right? So even a positive life changes, such as like promotion, a new child in a family, even these things are also creating it. This also does create stress. So stress is inevitable part of life. It is going to be there. And you know what happens, like stress, it triggers a fight or flight response in our body with respect to the stressor, to either to face it or to run away from it. But stress is not always bad. At times stress is also good, because it helps you to avoid avoid an accident. It helps you to avoid particular situation which you know, or like it can make you alert. Stress does makes you alert. So what actually creates stress? So basically what happens during stress, we need to know that. So during the stress process, stress, like there are certain hormones that are getting released from our brain, like adrenaline and cortisol. We all have heard about the term called adrenaline rush. That yes, it's an adrenaline rush thing, jumping from somewhere, or a flight taking off in a certain situation, or like where we often say, even a tight match, when a match is going on, just like these kind of things, we often say that it's an adrenaline rush. So yes, adrenaline is a hormone that is getting released during the stress period. But it is not just the adrenaline hormone, the primary stress hormone, it is the cortisol. So basically this cortisol play immense role in in our day to day life, and thus leads us to the chronic stress period. Like when it has been found by a survey that 80% of Americans, they report that they had at least one symptom of stress in the past 1 month, and 20% reported being under extreme stress. So in a not is not just a scenario of America, but rather it is a scenario all over the world. Like everybody does, they do suffer from stress. So these stress hormones, they are basically getting released from the, like our brain, it is sending signal to the different parts of our body, and like it sends signal to the adrenal gland, and it sends signal to release the cortisol hormone. So from adrenal gland, the adrenaline is getting released. Now what happens when this adrenaline is getting released? We like these are the things, like I've given a picture of head rush, wherein you can see that selective hearing might be lot many noises are happening around us, but we only hear a particular thing, or like we just hear a particular noise affects our ears, a selective hearing. Then our respiration is increased. Then your goosebumps, it when you see that you are extremely stressed and you are getting goosebumps, we say, oh my god, I'm so excited, I'm getting goosebumps. So that is also a sign of the adrenaline rush. Then your digestion gets slower process, the digestion process gets affected. Body temperature increases, you feel like that your cheeks, your ear, your neck, these places are getting warm, so your body temperature is also getting increased. We often, when people they fall in love, we say that, oh, I'm feeling butterflies in my stomach. So this butterfly sensation in the stomach is also a symptom of stress which is getting created with the adrenaline. Then the blood vessels, they do get constricted, and as a result the blood pressure surges. And when we are scared at that point of time also, it is the adrenaline which is responsible for that particular stress reaction, and our pupils dilate, we say, oh my god, and our eyes become big eyes. Sometimes you know what happens, that we feel very fatigued, and our muscles, it tightens, it becomes stiff. And that is also a symptom of the adrenaline, the stress created by the adrenaline. Now what happens when the stress is being created by the cortisol hormone? So it is like the depression, anxiety, headaches. Most of the headaches nowadays, it is not because of blood pressure, or it is not because of migraine or sinusitis, but it is because of stress, we feel throbbing head here. So it this headache, it is also happening because of stress. Depression, we all know that we are stressed to such a point that we are remaining very depressed, and India is becoming a very leading nation in depression also. Then we develop nerve problems when we get exposed to or this cortisol related stress. Then the different kind of nerve problems, they also do occur. Digestive issues, yes, like you feel acidity, acid burn or chest burn sensation, or you feel like that there's a cramping in the intestine and you feel like to go to loo. And let me tell you, most of the people who are working in corporates also, we do suffer from a problem called irritable bowel syndrome, IBS. You, many of you are might be aware of this term. This IBS is actually, it is totally psychosomatic disease, in the sense, the moment we get exposed to chronic stress, or like if there is prolonged stress or a repeated exposure to a similar stress, like you have to reach the targets, achievement of the monthly targets, monthly sales pressure, or like financial pressure, these kind of stress, gradually it leads you to a problem called irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, wherein immediately after feeling after eating food you feel like bloating. So bloating is there. Then also the blood pressure, it increases, and prolonged exposure to this chronic stress also leads to the different types of the heart disease, the heartbeat rhythm or the heart rhythm, they also do changes time to time. So these are the issues with the, like these are the two major impacts that adrenaline and cortisol hormone is actually creating in our body, and their role play in stress. So, what are stressors? Now, the important point is, what are stressors? These stressors are basically the different events that are happening in our surrounding, and it may trigger stress. Basically, our body, when we say that my body is responding to stress, it means my body is responding to stressors. So these stressors are those situations or those circumstances which is actually creating stress. Now this stressor can be new, or it can be short term, or it can be a long term. So if a stressor is new, so it is very new, so it can be acute stress, or it can be periodical stress. And another one is your chronic stress, like if the stressor has been there for a longer period of time, that continuously I am working in a what to say, continuously I'm having a financial burden, or like continuously there is a marital disharmony. So that means these are the chronic stress which a person is suffering from. And as a result, so the stressor, these kind of stressors, they contribute to the chronic stress. So when we talk about that, what are these stressors? So these stressors, there are 5 types of stressors that we often see. So one is your acute time limited stressor. What happens in acute time limited stressor? Like these are the ones which are given in a controlled environment. That means for a very small period of time. For example, if we are working in some project and we know that this project or this deadline has to be met, or like if I'm becoming, or I have some kind of event that I need to finish it off during this period, that is the acute time limited. I am stressed, too much stressed, but this stressor is time limited, because I know once this event is done, I'll be out of it. Another one is your brief naturalistic. So that means which occur naturally in our environment, such as I am going to write an examination paper, I'm going to appear for a test. So these things, they last only for the time, and thus it creates a stressful situation. Then the stressful events and sequences. Now it happens when there is some kind of traumatic events that might have taken place. Now what kind of traumatic event it can be? Like it can be some disaster, it can be the death of the loved ones, it can be some injury that has affected your memory and you can never come out of it, it can be some shocking incidents at your place. So these are your stressful events sequences. So that means my stress is related to the particular event that has occurred at some point of time in my life. Next comes is your, or the fourth type, it is your chronic stressors. Chronic stressors are like when we are forced to obey certain social role in our day to day life. it very often it happens with new moms, because continuously either they are not getting enough sleep, they are not getting time to eat, they becomes irritated continuously because they know that they have to take care of their child. So that is a chronic stressor. Or you might be working in an organization wherein continuously every month there is some kind of target pressure is there. It happens mainly with the people who are into business. So that is a chronic stressor, because it is a chronic thing. It is happening for a prolonged period of time, and it's a regular thing which is inevitable, and it would be continued for quite some time. And another one is your distance stressors, means something has happened very long in past which is still affecting our mind and which is still affecting us, and thus we are suffering from the stress. That means that very old episode has still left certain impression on our mind, and as a result we are suffering from the stress. So we need to know that what are the most common sources of stress nowadays. Considering the political scenario in the global performer, what we can see that 63% of the population, they are stressed thinking of the future of our nation. 62% people, they feel in various countries, they feel that money is everything. Like when these kind of surveys has been done, so in some countries 63% population, they said that in a separate questionnaire, they said that future of our nation, 63% population they responded. 62% population they responded in another questionnaire, they responded for like that, no, money is a matter, so finance is obviously a concern. Then next comes your work. Work is another very important thing which does contribute to the stress. Then political climate, the current political climate, like for example recently we had our selection or the election of the president of America. When Joe Biden, he was taking his oath for for his term, even people sitting in India were equally excited, were equally stressed. The IT companies were equally stressed that what Mr. President is going to deliver in his talks, or what would be his work thing, and whether our country would be able to go send their team for the project on site or not. So see, again, this is also kind of stress which is indirectly related to the political scenario to the other country, I mean. And violence and crime, we know that how does it affect it. Continuously we are thinking that, oh my god, is the war is going to happen, some murders, something, or some war, or some threat of war. These are the things that always keeps us worried. What shall I do with my money? Especially the people in the business, especially the people in the business, or especially the people in the companies, they are always alert that what the market is happening, what the share market is happening, every day sitting in front of the share market, what to do next. Even the presidential election of America, or the relationship between America China, also has got an impact into the Indian stock exchange, or even the Indian stock market. So that means what, even the people are buying the shares every day, and it is affecting their mind process, and it is creating a stress. So understanding the types of sources of stress, be it short term, long term, or it is internal stress, or it is the external stress, means the environment, is an important part of stress management. So these are the sources of stress, like life changes. For example, when a girl is getting married, she is stressed that what is going to happen in my future life. Divorce, relationship, health scares, or the physical illness, some accidents, some death, some legal issues. These are the life changes which is affecting your life. It is creating a stress. So this is a source of stress. Then comes your emotional, like the peer pressure. Parents often say, see his child, her child, they are doing so well, and you are not doing well. Even us adults, when we see that some of our competitor brands, or like some of our fellow colleagues, they are really doing well and I couldn't do well, so we feel stressed. So peer pressure, yes, it is a source of stress. Then conflicting culture, values and beliefs, it happens different in between the different cultures. And coping with uncertainty, see, uncertainty is going to be there every day. We never know that what next second is holding for us, so we cannot be assured of the future. Yes, but as because we cannot be assured of the future, what we do, we stop living for today, and we create, or these external things create some extra stress on our life. Next is your physical, like late nights or lack of routine, like if there is no discipline in the life, if you are eating meals in irregular times, not sleeping properly, handling your mobile continuously at night, this digital media, it is a science is a curse or a boon. So similarly, this digital media is also a curse and a boon for everybody. Poor diet, people hardly get time nowadays to eat. We often forget that our health is wealth and our body, it is a temple and we need to worship it. But in our mind, we have to rush to office, we have a meeting, so I cannot eat lunch, I have a meeting in the evening, so I cannot have my evening snacks, and as a result, you are eating maybe towards in the evening side and you are eating a lot of food, and thus you are affecting your entire diet, and this malpractice of the diet is going to create some physical issues into your health, and then that became, see, it goes to the life changes. So these are all interrelated, and then you suffer from some kind of stress. When we are into stress, people, they do think that okay, let me have a peg and I'll feel a bit relaxed, but ultimately you are creating more stress into your liver. So it is not that alcohol or drugs are actually easing out stress, but it is actually creating a lot of stress into your health. Environment is obviously a source, like if there's a poor housing or accommodation problems, the social isolation nowadays is the social isolation, so it is a big matter of concern. Unemployment, so many unemployment these days, then adjusting to a new environment, financial pressure, so these all are coming under your environmental stress. These things you cannot change, but we can change our body's way to respond to this stress. Now that is called as stress management, that how we are responding to a particular external source of the stress. And like if there are some changes at the work, like a new job, a new promotion, a new growth, a new department, or poor relationship with the colleagues or with your seniors or with your juniors, so or redundancy of the or the fear of it, these things, they do create a lot of stress into us, and we consider it under the sources of stress. So if I talk about that, what are the types of stress? So there are three types of stress. One is your acute, the most common form, like it's a short-term stress period that comes from obvious triggers, like if you're running late for work and you're stuck in a traffic jam, or your vehicle met an accident, or you are saying that oh my god, I'm not getting the vehicle and I'm getting late, you forgot to wake up with your alarm and you switched off and you are into rush. So these are your acute stress, but for a limited period. Another comes your episodic stress. Episodic stress, what happens that the same type of stress happening again and again and again, especially for the people who are into business, they know that every month they need to have certain amount of business they need to generate. So it is the periodical, it is episodic, so it is going to happen again and again and again and again and again, especially after the 15th of the month. We often see that month end is the word that no, the month end is there, so we have to earn the business, especially the retail units wherein they have the monthly targets. So that is the episodic stress. Next comes your chronic stress. Now chronic stress is something which is actually affecting the health in a very devastating way, I must say. It is the grinding stress that everyday people are bearing. It comes from the ongoing stress like poverty, or being trapped in some unhealthy relationship, like wherein every day there is fight, disharmony in marriage, or the relationship between the parents and their children, or the job that where a person is working, hatred towards the job. So we know that these things cannot be changed, and we have to go ahead with these things only, and these contribute to the chronic stress. So, what are the effects of stress on our body? Now, it is again being categorized into the following heads, like the emotional symptoms. We feel easily agitated, frustrated. Now, if you see that you are feeling easily agitated and frustrated, and you have become very moody, take my words, it is stress that you are suffering from. Or if you feel overwhelmed, like we are losing control and we need to take control of things, I have to take control of a particular situation, that is also emotional stress. Even if I feel like to relax, I'm not being able to relax. Even if I might have taken a leave, but still I'm working, my mind, I cannot keep my mind quiet, that is also emotional symptom of stress. Then feeling bad about ourselves, low self-esteem, feeling lonely, feeling worthless and depressed, avoiding others, these all are considered under the emotional stress, emotional symptoms of stress. What are the cognitive symptoms of stress? These cognitive symptoms of stress, they do include constant worrying, then racing thoughts. Shall I do this? Shall I do that? The continuous, I mean, the very fickle minded situation. Forgetfulness. Oh, I forgot to do this. I was supposed to do this, but I forgot to do this. How could I forget this mail? I have to do it. Disorganization, the completely disorganized thing. That is a symptom. Like when you think, see that things are getting cluttered, things are getting scattered, that means it is a cognitive symptom of stress. And if you see that you are not being able to focus on particular topics, so that means you are unable to, or you are unable to focus on certain thing, that means it, again, it's a cognitive symptoms of stress. Poor judgment, you know that by doing this you might be doing some harm, but still you are doing it. That means your thought process is not in your control, and again, it's a symptom of the cognitive symptoms of stress. And seeing everything negative. In positive also, if you start seeing negative, so that means you are under cognitive, you are under stress, and this is again the cognitive symptom of stress. Behavioral symptoms, like now this behavioral symptom is related with the nutritional thing, wherein the things are to be taken care of, like changes in appetite, either not eating at all. No, 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 I'm feeling stressed, I'm not going to, I cannot have food, I cannot have lunch, I cannot have breakfast. Or you are eating too much. Why you tend to eat too much? Because our brain, when we are stressed, our brain, it is working a lot, because it is overthinking, it is overdoing. And our to think, or the thinking is a process wherein a brain utilizes energy, and brain understand only one thing, that is sugar, that is glucose. So brain utilizes glucose as its source of energy. And when your mind is extremely occupied with lot of things, you tend to eat more sweets, because your body is demanding more sweets, and you are not giving your mind rest. So changes in appetite, it is there. Then procrastinating and avoiding the responsibilities, like if some responsibilities are being given, there's a tendency, no, 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 I will not do this, I will not do that. Okay, okay, I'll tell the other person to do that. So that means avoiding the responsibilities. Then the increased use of alcohol, drugs, cigarettes. People often think that, okay, let me have a fag, let me have a peg, or let me have some coke, and this might contribute, or this might help me to relax, to be a stress free, but actually this is wrong. Then exhibiting very more nervous behavior, such as nail biting, fidgeting, pacing. Oh my God, what will happen? What will happen? These things are the behavioral stress. And physical symptoms is what that means. Now, the manifestation of stress is showing, or it has started showing its manifestation into our physical form. Stress is not just what we are seeing or what we are feeling, but it is deep rooted. It has basically affected our cells, and these many symptoms are the manifestation of that deep rooted problems. Physical symptoms like very chronic fatigue, low energy, headaches, stomach upset, often diarrhea, constipation, nausea is working. This happens with the people with IBS. Then you feel like your body is aching, you have a lot of pain in the shoulder, you have a lot of pain in the arms, you have a lot of pain in the back. So these things there is there. Insomnia, that means the lack of sleep. You have become insomniac because you're always busy with your mobile phone even after going to bed at night, and which is disturbing your sleep. Frequent cold and infections, because your body has now your body is getting succumbed to the stress, and your body is getting affected with the stress, and your body is responding to it now, your organs are responding to it now. Loss of sexual desire, then your ability to perform better in sex, then the nervousness, shaking, hand sweating of the hands, then your dry mouth, difficulty in swallowing, clenched jaw, teeth grinding. These things, they happen in this the physical symptoms that yes, your body, it is at stress. Now, what are the consequences of this long-term stress? So that means consequences of the chronic stress. When you have high stress levels for an extended period of time, we call it that it's a chronic stress. Now, this long-term stress effect has got a negative impact on our health, and it may contribute to anxiety, cardiovascular disease, obesity, menstrual problems, sexual dysfunction, skin and hair problems. Let me tell you, the skin and hair problems are also due to stress. Then might be your body is not fat, but only your tummy is bulged out. That is also stress. Then your gastrointestinal problems such as GERD, that is like after eating food, you feel like that with the burp, the thing is come up, the food has come up. It shows that you are suffering from the GERD. Ulcerative colitis, your colon is irritated, you are frequently facing cramps in the intestine, you are frequently facing diarrhea, or you are frequently facing bloating. So these are the long term, the consequences of the long term stress. It affects our heart, as I told you in the very beginning of my presentation. Abnormal heart rhythms are there, heart attacks are there, and stroke is there. So what happens? This uh, stress, it leads to fight or flight. So when we experience stress, it activates a fight or flight response in our body. While this response is crucial to human survival in life threatening conditions, experiencing it every day due to stress for a prolonged period of time can be detrimental to health, and it can be harmful for health, as this fight or flight affects our cells, and as a result it affects the mitochondria. Mitochondria is a cell organelles, I mean it's a part within the cell. And if that mitochondria, we call it as a mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, the energy that you get in your body is actually getting produced there in the mitochondria of the cell. So if that mitochondria is getting affected, then your entire metabolism gets affected. So stress activates this fight or flight response in our body, and these are the symptoms that is there. Now there are certain noticeable effects and there are certain hidden effects of fight or flight. Noticeable effects means that is visible, so you can very easily relate with yourself also, that which is actually very visible, like pupils are dilating, mouth is going dry, neck and shoulder muscles are tense and cramps are there, breathing fast, or the oxygen is needed for muscle, you are feeling that your muscles are extremely paining, so that means the oxygen insufficiency is there due to frequent fight or flight response of our body. And the hidden effects are like brain is getting affected, brain is releasing adrenaline, adrenaline is resulting in increased blood pressure, then liver is releasing more glucose, or helping in release of the more glucose to provide energy for the muscles, to provide energy for the brain. Digestion is getting slower, sphincters are getting closed, that is sphincters are the valves in the tubes of our body, and these are getting closed in the digestive tract of our body. And as a result, the movement of the food from one part to the other part is getting affected. Cortisol hormone is getting released and it is depressing the immune system. That is also important. So if we see it in a nutshell, that what is the impact of chronic fight or flight. So if chronic fight or flight is continuously there, then the the arrow which is upward shows that the blood pressure will be increasing, the stress hormones, that means adrenaline or cortisol, will be increasing, and your blood platelets will become very sticky. And if the blood platelets become very sticky, they have got a tendency to stick to the blood vessels, and then they develop plaque or the blockages in the arteries. So this is an impact of the chronic fight or flight. And what happens in the arrow which is going downwards, that means digestion is affected, it is the digestion is not happening properly, immune system is depressed, growth and sex hormones are depressed, and as a result the perform better in sex or the growth is getting affected. And the other things are like premature aging is there, heart attack can happen, anxiety is there, irritability, insomnia, ulcers, these are there. Cells, as I said, that it is not just the superficial thing that you were saying, but it is deep rooted as it affects at the cellular level. If when stress affects the cellular level, it lead to the overproduction of myelin in the brain. Myelin is a membrane or a part of the nervous system. What happens because of this overproduction of myelin, too much of nerve impulse conduction is there, and as a result mood swings, irritability takes place. And also when this stress is affecting the cells at a deep rooted level in the mitochondria, it changes the genetic material, and as because it changes the genetic material, what happens, the consequences of the change in the genetic material is the fat manufacturing genes that we have becomes more active. So the fat, and it also damage the mitochondria, so obviously the metabolism is getting affected, and thus our body become resistant to insulin. And when our body becomes resistant to insulin, so that means my blood sugar is increasing because my cells are not being able to recognize insulin, and hence sugar is remaining in the blood and it is not being able to enter the cells, and we feel like eating more sugars, and we are finally eating more sugars. So how to manage stress? Now this is the final portion, like how to manage stress. See, stress management need lifestyle modification. It is not a one day thing. It is not like just a 2 day thing or a 1 week thing, but it is a lifestyle modification which has to be there in your everyday schedule. Like everyday meditation for at least 5 to 10 minutes, it is important. Meditation does not mean that you have to sit somewhere idle and you have to say om or so. Even sitting in front of your preferred god, because god is a preference nowadays, so you need to sit in front of your preferred god. Talk to yourself, even sitting in front of mirror and talking to yourself, analyzing the day, and then you are asking your body to calm down. So meditation is important. Nature, start developing certain hobby, like whatever is your hobby might be taking care of the stray animals, your hobby might be singing. Develop certain hobby, or if you have some hobby, we all have certain hobbies, take out some time to contribute towards those hobbies every day, at least 10 to 15 minutes or even 30 minutes. This much time we can give instead of sitting in front of the digital media. Then is the nature. Try to go out for walks. Try to take a break and roam around the hills, because nature is a very good healer of stress. Exercise every day, because what happens when you exercise every day, be it yoga, be it gym, it helps in release of endorphins. These are certain neurotransmitter like endorphins. These endorphins create happy mood for us. Time management, if you are going to sleep late at night, so obvious thing is that you would be waking up late, so time management is there. And if you are waking up late, then you would be in rush, then you would be having acute stress, oh I'm getting late for the office. It's better go timely, at time, set a time that this time I'll switch off all my mobile phones and everything, or I'll put it into the silent mode and I'll go to sleep. Next day morning I'll wake up, and then I will do meditation or I'll do exercise for at least half an hour. Start with half an hour, 15 minutes, and then I'll have my breakfast and I'll go to office. You will see that everything is in order. Listening to music is a very, very good thing which is going to help you. Laughing, spend time with your friends, spend time with your family. Hardly we do nowadays. Even if you cannot go out, at least you can arrange a good talk session within your family members. Laugh at the things, and this eases out the stress, because stress will be there, but it is upon us that how we are reacting to it. And you should not be giving the key of your happiness to somebody else. So that means you cannot be giving the key of your happiness to stress. Rather, you should be knowing how to deal it. And most important, right food to combat stress. So right food is very, very important. Now what happens, that effect of stress on eating patterns, like we tend to eat too much of sugary food, drinking too much of coffee. Now this caffeine again contribute to stress. We often think that, oh I'm so stressed, I need to have a cup of coffee. As caffeine is there, it is going to give you a kick, but then it is again going to contribute to stress. Mindless munching, as because we are stressed, we are not sitting in a particular place and we are not having a proper good meal, we are continuously munching whatever we are getting, and as it is, we are contributing more calories to our body. Then as because you have gained weight, and again in weight loss process also you are into rush, so what do? Let me follow some diet chart from the internet, from the Google. We have the Google University, so you can download any diet chart from the Google without thinking that what if your body at all needs that type of diet or not, and you tend to follow the crash diets. These crash diets, they do create stress on your organs. Then forgetting the vital nutrient, we call it as a missing nutrient, or the most forgotten nutrient, that is water. Drinking at least 2.5 to 3 liters of water helps in flushing out the toxins that has been created by the stress. And thus it detoxifies your body, it hydrates your cell, and you feel fresh. Fast food consumption, you don't have time to cook, and what you are doing, you're ordering for some noodles, something or something outside, some pizza or something. These are the fast food consumption which is getting increased. Skipping meals, I already told you, and less time to eat due to stress. So stressor is there. These are the negative emotions and the positive emotions which is affecting the eating behavior. We call it as the emotional eating. And then the output is the emotional state of relief, but then it is a very short lived, and you have to think about the long term benefits. Now, stressed is desserts if it is spelled backwards. And the main reason of obesity due to stress is because of eating of lot of desserts. And I explained you why we tend to eat lot of desserts or sugars, because your brain, it is overthinking, your brain, it is overworking. It is not the physical stress, it is the mental stress. And brain understands only glucose, which you can get from the sugars. So that's why what people do, they do tend up eating a lot of sugars, a lot of chocolates, a bite of chocolate. Please, if you want to have a bite of chocolate, go ahead with the dark chocolate. At least have 2 cubes of dark chocolate. That is still okay. Sometimes, not every day. Or it is better to have fruits, sweet fruits, because fruits are also having glucose, but these are the healthy sugars, which is going to help you in a long run. Also, they have the antioxidants, which is going to help you in combating stress. So this is the cycle of the emotional eating. What happens in the stress, we feel like to take need, we need certain comfort, thus we eat. Now after eating we feel a little relieved. Now after feeling relieved we feel good, and this feel good, what happens that gradually when this positive feeling fades, we start feeling guilt. Oh my god, why I have eaten this? I know that I'll be putting on more weight. Why I have eaten this? This guilt will again put you into stress, and then again you would be needing the comfort, and again you would be eating. So this is how it happens. So these are this nutrition and stress management, it is actually interrelated, and good nutrition positively influences the physical activity and stress level, and physical activity lowers stress and improves weight management. And high stress levels result in, as I said, that it results in the poor nutrition and reduced physical activity many times. So these are the 5 foods that basically increase stress, like white bread and most pastries. They contain sugar, flour, sodium, and also gluten, which creates the inflammation of the gut. And many additives are being also used, which are harmful for our waistline, and also they do induce stress. Sugary food, excess consumption of this sugary food or the starchy food leads to IBS. Then the energy drinks like coffee, tea, even cocoa, these drinks, they should be avoided, as they boost up our energy level and mood for a certain time, but they're high in theobromine, caffeine, and other neurostimulator that actually promote stress. Then too much consumption of spicy foods, they delays the digestion process, and this in turn also leads to the acid reflux. Then the processed foods are the big sources of the fat, sodium. This sodium, it increases the blood pressure, it increases the blood volume, it contributes to the water retention, and it also directly increases the cortisol level, and automatically we are getting more stressed. So what nutrients are there which can actually help in combating the stress in terms of the vitamins and minerals? These are the important vitamins and minerals that helps in combating stress. So from where do you get it? Like magnesium is there, it is essential for proper muscle and nerve functioning. And it also does improves your sleep, and magnesium is there in milk. So it is good that if you're drinking milk or the fish items, they contribute a lot of magnesium, a lot of zinc, which basically helps in combating stress, and it will minimize the stress, and it will also help in improving the immune response of the body. Then comes in the vitamin section, especially the vitamin B6, vitamin B1, then your vitamin B3, that is niacin, vitamin B5, vitamin C. These are going to help you into combating stress. Now what it does, this vitamin B6, it is basically utilized in the formation of GABA. We call it as GABA, that is a gamma aminobutyric acid. It is a kind of chemical basically which is released from the brain for relaxation, and it helps in the release of the serotonin and dopamine. These are, we call it as happy hormones. So foods like milk, fish, fish oil, that is the omega-3 fatty acids are there. Then fish oil, they also do contribute to the release of the serotonin and dopamine. And moreover, the low levels of serotonin are anyways linked to depression, insomnia, defocus. Vitamin B1, that is the thiamine, like it helps in strengthening the immune system, and it also improve the ability to deal with the stressful condition. And the rich source of vitamin B1 is your milk, cereals. Your cereals are important for your stress, to combat the stress. Many people, they do have a tendency to skip the dinner in form of bread, the rice, then your chapati. Please do eat cereals, oats and all. These are needed for us because they do also help in combating stress. Even rice. Then vitamin B3, it helps to reduce your mental fatigue. Like when we feel like we can't think anything else and body starts developing the aches because of the inflammation, niacin helps in combating those inflammation. Vitamin B5 is there. Even if you're buying some multivitamin supplements, if you're taking, you just need to check out that if these vitamins, minerals are present in those supplements or not. It acts as a cofactor for the production of acetylcholine. Again, this is a neurotransmitter which is important for learning. Then it is your vitamin C. It is a great antioxidant. We all know gooseberry is the richest source of vitamin C, and if the gooseberry is not available through the entire year, you can have guava. You can even have potatoes, because potatoes also do contain good amount of vitamin C, which helps in synthesizing synthesis of the serotonin. And serotonin is again, in nutshell, it's a happy mood hormone. You can call it as. Antioxidants, they do protect cells from stress-induced cellular damage. Thus, it restores the functioning capacity of the cells, and it delays the manifestation of the age-related stress and related symptoms. So these are the comfort foods that I've already told. So in nutshell, you can just have a look, like milk, salmon, green tea, dark chocolate, turkey, avocado, oranges, blueberries, garlic, pistachio nuts, asparagus. These are the comfort foods which basically helps you to combat stress. So try to incorporate these items every day in your meal. You might, people of India might not be having asparagus every day in their meal, but yes, you can have milk, you can have green tea, you can have dark chocolate, not every day, twice a day, twice a week. Fruits, oranges are available, blueberries, if not, then at least have guava. Garlic, anyways, we all use in our cooking. So these are the things, if you can add every day in your meal. Like oatmeal, you can use it in the breakfast. If you can every day use oatmeal in the breakfast, gradually you will see that your blood pressure is getting stabilized, and yes, gradually the stress would be released. So there are 6 ways to practice mindful eating. So there are, first, to know the mindful eating, you need to know what is mindless eating. Mindless eating is eating past full and ignoring your body signals. That means you are already full, still you feel like to eat. So that is mindless eating. Eating not because I'm hungry, but when my emotions are saying that I need to have something. Not because you are hungry, but your emotions are saying. You are with your friends, you are feeling like to, okay, let's have and eat it, but you are not hungry. So that is again mindless eating. That we call it as emotional eating. Then eating alone at random times and places, just going around the road and buying something and eating. Eating and multitasking. Now, when you eat and do the multitasking, you tend to eat more because your focus is on work and not on the food. So better to eat first, finish off your food, and then you focus on your work. And in mindful eating, it is like listening to your body and to know, okay, I have eaten and now I'm feeling full, so I'll not eat further. So that is mindful eating. If when our bodies tell us to eat, we are eating only then. When we feel that our stomach is growling, our energy level is low, I'm feeling extremely hungry, then only I'm eating. So that is mindful eating. So these are the certain points. And eating the nutritious foods, even if there is a craving of sweets, better to have some sweet fruit. That is a mindful eating. So that way. So the ultimate thing is what? After this session, we all can take a pledge that it's better to do break up with the stress. So dear stress, let's break up. Thank you. And now if you have the questions, we can start up with.
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Bija, for enlightening us with your kind word and knowledge. I would now request you to kindly help our delegates in clearing their doubts regarding today's session with a question answer session. So dear participants, you can directly ask question, unmuting you directly to our honorable speaker. Over to persons who want to give, because we don't have any questions in our chat box right now. So I would like to request our participants to raise the question, unmute yourself, and direct. Yes, we can start with some uh, questions about the session Ms. Bija has uh, delivered us, enlightened us. So, Ms. Bija, there is a question of some Mr. Onil that what is you have given a very good idea about mindful eating, or uh, what actually a person can do with a mindful eating.
Yes, see, to answer you this question, Mr. Gupta, like with this mindful eating, what we can do, like uh, stress is inevitable. It is going to be there. So the craving for sugar will be there. So we need to do a judicious selection of the foods, that what can we have instead of sugar. My craving for the sugar, because from the sweet fruits we do also get fructose, we get glucose also. So that means what, my body would be getting the glucose, along with that I'd be getting vitamins and minerals, and not just the empty calories, because if you are eating some sweet items, so you'd be getting the empty calories because these are sugar. But if you are eating fruits, which is going to give you vitamins, minerals also, and these vitamins, minerals are also going to help you in combating stress, as I have already showed you in my presentation, that what are the vitamins, minerals, these are present. They are the nutrients which are going to help you. And not just that, fruits and vegetable fruits, they are having the fiber, and fiber, they do give us satiety. So that means when we would be having problems, like we feel like to eating some sugar item, at that moment you yourself can see, even if a banana, if you're eating, you can eat banana. Don't think that banana creates weight, or banana will make you gain weight. One banana is containing 23 grams of fiber, which is so good and almost meets up our daily requirement. And it is giving directly glucose, and it is also having good amount of vitamin C and all. So, and it gives us satiety, because my body is craving for sweet. It cannot differentiate, okay, this is sugar, this is non-sugar item, but it can understand only sweet in taste. So better to give some healthy sweet food. So that is the mindful eating. So that was a judicious choice of food. Or maybe even during the stress period, our body, they do crave for not just for sugar, for salt. We feel like to eat some salty items. So that's why we have a habit in mindless eating. We have a habit of munching some snacks, some chips or something. It is better to have some salads at that point of time by using certain rock salt. So that way, the your you again, you are giving your body, supplying your body with your vitamins, minerals through vegetables. And also you can give your body from the rock salt, you are avoiding your body not to take the sodium, because the common salt has got sodium into it, which contributes to high blood pressure, or which contributes to your water retention. So again, this thing is not going to happen. And again, the sensation for the salty item, that I want to have some salt. So instead of going for chips, you can have even the boiled black gram, or some boiled, or some sprouts, even some form of salads. So you, and these are the items which we can carry it in our office. Like even my clients, they do carry it in the office also. So it is very easy. So these are the mindful eating that one can have. I can see there are certain questions in the chat box that it has come.
Yes.
Is
Uh,
peanut reduce our
what?
stress? Yes, peanuts, they do help in reducing. This question is from Tasnuba Ahmed. Yes, Tasnuba, peanuts do help in reducing our stress because nuts, they contain vitamin E. Vitamin E is an antioxidant which protects your cell from the cellular damage. And as I said, that the manifestation of stress is from inward to outward and not from outward to inward. So what happens in cellular stress, when people when our body is affected with stress, that means we are affecting the cell membrane, and when we are affecting the cell membrane, our cells are getting disturbed, our metabolism is getting disturbed, then these things are sending signal to the brain, and as a result brain is sending signal to release the adrenaline and the cortisol. So now what to do? Peanuts, they do have the vitamin E. Vitamin E is a very good powerful antioxidant. This vitamin E protects the cell also. As I mentioned in my slide, that vitamin B3 is a very vital vitamin which helps in combating stress, and peanuts are one of the very rich sources of vitamin B3, the niacin we call it. So it is helpful.
So
uh,
one more question from Mr. Kamaleshwari Kevat. The yeah, he asked how to balance the myelin production by nutrition.
Okay, see, myelin production, it is a resultant of chronic stress. So what to do? We need to go ahead with the stress management process by adopting the lifestyle behaviors, by adopting the right kind of food, which I have mentioned, by taking now, see, every day we are succumb to stress, we are getting exposed to so much of stress, and we cannot deny that. Now what happens that our intestine, all of us, almost all of us are nowadays do suffer from some or the other kind of gastrointestinal issues, as a result of which the nutrient absorption is affected, which we directly get from foods. So it is advisable, people who experience a lot of stress, it is advisable if they can go for multivitamin, multimineral, cod liver oil supplementation. This is going to help them to reduce the effects or the consequences of the chronic stress, and as a result the myelin production, whatever has been produced, cannot be reduced definitely, but yes, further production can be inhibited. I can see another
Right.
question by Sandhya. How to avoid binge eating due to stress? I believe, Sandhya, I've already explained you in my previous answers that by going for the mindful eating, you can eat, but please go ahead with the mindful eating. And binge eating, when we start thinking that what to do, what to do, what to do. In a part in the lifestyle modification, there is a topic or a point called hobby. Start practicing your hobbies when your mind would be occupied with your hobbies, and hobbies are always very creative in nature. Either my hobbies of gardening, or my hobbies of painting, or my hobbies of baking, or something, it is very creative in nature, even singing, dancing. Your mind would be busy with your hobbies, then automatically your mind will not be having that much time to think of eating, and when your stress level will be reduced anyways, your binge eating tendency will also get reduced, because it is the stress which is provoking you for the binge eating.
So
And
one
another
more
question,
question.
Dietitian Ruchi Mehta,
In,
yes,
in,
banana has anti-stress property. Banana has got anti-stress property because it helps in the release of the serotonin and endorphins, which are happy mood hormones, we call it as. So yes, it has got.
so, ma'am, one question from Miss Mariam. The She has asked that please suggest how to deal with stress-induced binging.
Stress-induced binge eating.
Binging.
Being. So
Yeah.
that is the binge eating. The stress-induced binge eating, I believe I've just answered that you need to indulge into the lifestyle modification by adopting your hobbies, by doing exercise. You know, when we do exercise, when do we binge eat? When we have time. We are sitting, we are overthinking, and we are binge eating, and we are eating something or the something. But if we can occupy our body instead of our mind by doing the exercise, what will happen? Exercise will help in the release of endorphins. Those endorphins will automatically suppress the stress and your tendency towards the binge eating. And one more important thing is there, when you do exercise, there is a blood circulation. So the sufficient supply of oxygen is there all over your body. You start feeling fresh. Why do we binge it? Because we're sitting idle. Our mind is idle. What to do? What to do? Let's eat something. Let's eat something. So that is why the binge eating is there. But when you know that no, this time is my workout time, I have to go for the workout, you need to develop the willpower for it. Do it for 10 days. Any habit development needs 10 days time. So go for your workout, go and hit gym, go for your yoga, go for your swimming classes. Even you can go out for a walk wherein you can do two things together at a time. You can walk, which is a physical activity. Along with that, you can put up your headphone and you can listen to the music. So listening to music also reduces stress, and automatically you are not getting sufficient time in your hand to devote into binge eating.
So one Mr. Muhammad Naushad.
Naushad answered, yes, he has asked that due to workload, I have more than month headache. What I will do? I have
Yeah.
sugar or sometime my BP is also high. Obviously, Mr. Mohammed, you are now suffering from the chronic stress, and this chronic stress has affected your health and it has affected your mind. Again, the same answer, the lifestyle modification. I know we all, most of us, we hardly have time to devote to anything, to devote to our good practices rather. We can have time to go and to go for clubbing or so, but that time we can utilize to read good books, to listen to music, to exercise, and to mindful eating. Four things are there which is going to help you to cope up with this headache and this sugar problem. Now, this sugar problem that you have developed, you have to go for mindful eating. You need to take a diet chart from a qualified dietitian, so as because you do not know that what exact calculation your body would be needing. So that would be needing a detailed calculation for your diet chart that would be given to you. But yes, you need to follow a 5 food group system into the pyramid structure. Like you need to have cereals in your diet instead of too much of rice, instead of too much of chapatis. Yes, you can have oats. You replace, if you have high pressure also, replace your breakfast with smoothie. Oat smoothie is a very good combination. If your sugar is too high, then many people they can have banana. Like many of my diabetic patients, I have given them banana, but as because I don't know like what exact amount you are consuming, so what I can suggest you, replace banana with apple. Even apple is having a lot of potassium. Your blood pressure will come down. It has got fiber. It is sweet in taste. You can use strawberries also. Take oats 1 tablespoon or 2 tablespoon. Take curd 1 cup, then add a few pistachio nuts or few almonds, and you add oats into it and some volume to volume makeup, add some water, mix it and have this in smoothie. Practice this for a month and you yourself will see a change. People who are suffering from stress induced hypertension, they get benefit if they are consuming salt free breakfast. Try to make salt free breakfast. Salt free breakfast actually helps to reduce the headache, and it gives your body a vigor, and you feel like you feel very rejuvenated. And try to sleep on time while going to bed. Please don't use your mobile phone. That is the most harmful thing, because even after going to bed, either you are seeing your economic times, or you are seeing some WhatsApp messages, or you are seeing some mails. Please, that is your own time. We have forgotten how to utilize time for ourselves. We need to have time for ourselves. 8 hours for sleep is mandatory. Even research has shown that 7 to 8 hours of sleep is mandatory. And people who are sleeping less than 7 to 8 hours, we call them as elite sleepers, because they, even if they're sleeping for 4 hours or 5 hours, they feel extremely fresh. But that is not so. It is actually affecting your cells, it is affecting your mitochondria, and then gradually, not so soon, but in later years, people they do develop hypertension, they do develop diabetes and other metabolic syndromes. Like some people they do develop hypothyroidism, someone they do suffer from the females they do suffer from polycystic ovary, or like they do suffer from your uric acid. So these issues they do develop. It is not just the hypertension and the diabetes, it is a signal to your body that please think of yourself first. Because if your body will give up, you will never be able to do any other work. You would be more stressed because you would be indulged into eating a lot of medications. As Hippocrates has said that let food be thy medicine. Always remember, food is used to be a preventive approach, because medicine is not preventive, medicine is a curative, but food is both preventive and curative. So better to indulge into mindful eating, pursue your hobbies. Many of you might have a hobby of reading books, music, or many of you might be a good singer. Try out singing. Even you can download certain apps nowadays are available for the singing platform apps. Do it. I am telling you, it helps. I have seen the results in my patients, and it helps, it works. Please practice yoga if possible. If you cannot go out to gym, if you cannot go out for a walk for 1 hour, at least you start practicing yoga for 15 minutes. 15 minutes time, I believe you can give it to yourself, and you will see that your entire system is getting calmed down. We call, and you also need to go for pranic healing. Pranic healing is very, very important nowadays. It is an alternative pathway which can help you out.
So we will take two more questions. One is from Hanifa Mirik. That is a very good question, and she's right. Every day I am under work pressure, therefore I have headache, and I am very aggressive. It is very interesting, and then I can't help myself. I am not happy to be angry in the workplace. So, how to reduce uh, anyone's angry in the workplace due to stress? Please explain.
Lifestyle management. When you see that you are angry at your workplace, that means your stress level has crossed your saturation level. You are overstressed. It is not just the acute stress, you are under a periodical or the episodic stress. That means this stress is coming to you over and over again. What kind of work you are into, that is also important. Even the work environment, that is also important. So it is the periodical stress that you are coming again and again and again, which is resulting into this headache, which is resulting into this aggressive behavior, as I already showed you in my presentation, that yes, due to stress, the aggressive behavior that do develop. When you'd be seeing that you are becoming very angry and you cannot control yourself, one suggestion: shut down your laptop, switch off your mobile, go out of your office at least for 10 to 15 minutes. Don't drink coffee, because caffeine is again going to induce more stress eventually. Go out for a walk, just for 5 to 10 minutes, and you will feel good. Then you come back and you sit that, and you can see that yes, your anger is in your control. Because see, you always need to remember that when we are working somewhere, we have the colleagues, even they have certain pressure at your home, and they are not like, why they will be taking our burden and our stress. It is our stress, so we have to be responsible for our stress and not them. If you think that your behavior is becoming extremely aggressive, one solution is that now you know, the best part is that you know your problem, that this is your problem. That moment, ask your team, better you close your cabin's door. If you're sitting in a cabin, close your cabin's door and ask your team, don't disturb me for 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. Switch off your work, start, see some YouTube movie in YouTube, play some music, or you put some healing music. You will find many healing music available in the YouTube. Put some healing music, drink a cup of green tea with some nuts if possible. If possible, try it out, you might get benefited. But that is just a short term relief that I'm talking about. But for long term relief, you have to go for a prolonged process of the lifestyle modification. You have to change your lifestyle, because even lack of sleep or less sleep or sleeplessness, insomnia, also contributes to the aggressive behavior.
So, last question in this session. Dietitian Ruchi Mehta has asked one good question, that how to cope up with the reduced sleep due to stress.
See, the reduced sleep can be like, how you can help it. First of all, when the stress is there, automatically the sleep is getting reduced. So that is one concern. Now, what to do? Lifestyle modification is, please take my words, you can inscribe it anywhere. It is not a one day thing that in one day you can reduce stress, but it is the lifestyle modification that you have to do. But if anybody is not lactose intolerant, then they can definitely have a cup of warm milk before bedtime, because what happens, milk is very soothing and it helps in getting a good sleep. So you can try it out with a cup of milk if anybody is not lactose intolerant. And if someone is having lactose intolerant, then also they can go for the soy milk. So even that is going to create the equal effect into our body. Every day after going back to home, freshen up yourself, spend time with your family members, and eat few nuts. Post dinner, I have seen myself that post dinner, if you are munching on few nuts, 5 6 pistas or 5 6 almonds, and a glass of milk, it helps you to get good sleep. If someone is non-vegetarian, even the consumption of fish also helps in curing the insomnia gradually over a period of time. It helps. Then banana, if people person is not diabetic, though I am saying again, a diabetic person can also have banana, but yes, that should be taken under monitoring process. We need to see that if at all that is creating a spike in the blood sugar level or not. So if somebody is not having the blood sugar, they can also have one banana. Even banana helps. Have it in the breakfast, have it in the afternoon, and the effect of the banana, the consumption of the banana will be there through the entire day. This is going to help you.
Thank you very much for enlightening us with your kind words and knowledge. Uh, I would like to take a moment for time to tell everyone about the series of webinar that Alvin Integrated Service has launched. So we have launched a global ISO knowledge sharing summit, which is named as Global ISO Knowledge Sharing Summit 2021 on 27th of February 2021, where the eminent speakers around the world will participate with their knowledge and with their experience. They will share their knowledge and experience with the honorable guests. And the summit highlights is the 25 plus experience speakers will be there, 700 plus delegates across the globe, and ISO and compliance topics like today, that 15 plus topics will be there. And in this Global ISO Knowledge Sharing Summit 2021 on 27th February 2021, 400 plus companies are taking part with the 27 plus industries and 50 countries along across the globe. From the participant from the 50 plus countries will be attending. We have already in a process to getting their nomination or their participation request. So you can go to our website at www.alvinintegrated.com, where you can register yourself as a participant of this webinar series and ISO Global Knowledge Sharing Summit. So thank you. And I would like to request the participants to give us the feedbacks in the chat box for about this webinar. knowledgeable knowledge sharing webinar by Ms. Bijaya Mukherjee from Calcutta. She is also founder of RB Diet Clinic, Kolkata. Thank you very much. Uh,
Thank you so
thank
much,
you again.
everyone.
Thank you again to Ms. Bijaya Mukherjee for enlightening all of us with your valuable knowledge and experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you.